I'd like to welcome everyone to the IMU Board of Trustees of Electric, Water, and Communications Utilities for our July 22nd, 2024 meeting. Monica, roll call.
Thank you. Celebrate. White.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Rosga.
Yes.
Voice.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got oath of office for Adam Voights tonight, but we are missing a person to administer the oath. So we're going to save that and move on down for the time being. Anyone wishing to speak, public comment, anyone wishing to speak should come to the lectern and state your name and address for the record. Good? Okay. Next, we need a first and second motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Okay. Let's see, I'll go through whatever we have. For tonight, we have approval of claims, approval of minutes of the prior meetings, and the May 2024 financial report. Do we have any discussion or anything at this point? Or have Doug? Okay.
Trustees, this is the 11th month of fiscal year, and so therefore we just have 1 month to go. It's always kind of interesting when first get the phone call from me because I'm getting a little older and I can't remember a lot of things, but since the work helps me work our way through it, I think an interesting one is, I don't have that much knowledge, but the kilowatts this year are down from last year, and having lived in this community forever, I know it's growing, so that's just kind of interesting. Maybe be more efficient, people know that it's a little more difficult to pay some of the bills, so that's an interesting thing is. And then I think that over on the fiber utility, it's just kind of every month it's like a growth of 25 to 30. It's been really steady. And having campaigned so many times in town, I knew that there was 4,000, like 110 households or whatever. And of course, we're at some 47 or whatever. Hard to read the number, but anyway, we got more than the households. I remember, let's see, back on the notes, and it's pretty easy to read them, but yeah, there's going to be some adjustments to the June 30th because of our accrual system. And this has got a lot of accrual really in the system, but there'll be some adjustments there. Yeah, and I know that you know that the capital project, it's time. I mean, we budget, and then of course you can't get it done or whatever, or can't find a contractor, or the contractor comes late, or whatever, so you're going to have those differences, but I'm not saying anything that you all do, but maybe reminding you, or maybe reminding you, so that'll be my report.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Thanks, Doug. So any other questions from anybody for discussion? Okay, Monica.
White.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Rosga.
Yes.
Voice.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to electric utility informational items. Mike?
Yeah, so we're still working on the square. We're on the southwest corner. Our hopes are tomorrow morning we're going to pour a little bit of concrete back and then have that opened up for RAGBRAI so we don't have any barricades up during that process. It's really not going to hold us up much. It was a good stopping point and kind of get that opened back up. So plan on that. Turbine 8 update. Yeah, it's there. So we were supposed to, we've scheduled it twice with the DNR now as far as when we were going to do our stack testing. They continue to find some issues as they move forward, putting the controls in as part of the control project, getting that done. We just literally 15, 20 months ago got off another 45-minute phone call with them just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So right now, we're probably looking at another 10 to 14 days before we probably have the stack test done. But at this point, we want to make sure everything that they're doing, they're finding some point-to-point checks, which is wiring from one point to another point, make sure it's correct. They're wanting to make sure that stuff's correct before we try to start the thing and things not be right. So
Are they surprised by these things that are still popping up?
it's just, you know, it's one of those deals that you build it down there and then you bring the system up here and you got to retrofit it to fit into the systems that's there, and then it just takes time to go through it all. And kind of a crazy deal to, like, was discovered this morning, new fuel meter that we put in there. The conduit comes out of our one building over to the diesel fuel skid building, where the conduit comes down. They used the wrong connector there, took in water ran down it, ran into the fuel meter, and now the fuel meter has to be replaced. So little things like that delay us on the project. But we definitely told them the need and want to get this thing up and going. They definitely understand that as well. But the HPI side of things, everything's good to go. We did have I guess, some good news. I've kind of overleaped some of the historical deals that are victories that we do have. The oil filtration system it's all completed with new oil in it. The circulating pumps are up and running now, and then it's actually on ratchet to where the turbine ratchets every 3 minutes. So we are turning the turbine like it's supposed to, so it's ready, that part's ready to go. So definitely some positive things moving forward. But through that process, we heard a noise last week, Thursday?
Yeah.
Thursday. So we stopped, and what it was is part of the covers that go on that they had off there. Everything's a little bit tighter now because of some clearances. They just had to pull the panel off, do a little bit of clearing out with some emery paper cloth to make the clearance a little bit bigger, for it's just an air gap and just allow debris not to go in there. They did that, and by Friday night they had it all put back together and it was back to ratcheting. So definitely moving forward, but not as quickly as I'd like.
When you say a stack test, what does that mean? Like
So
you have to do one thing, test it, and then keep going?
Yep, so the stack test is a DNR deal where we'll start it, and it's the emissions that come out through the exhaust
Yeah.
to see how much emissions is going into the atmosphere. And then from that, we'll be able to say how long or often we can run for part of our Title V permit.
Is this hurting us at all with the DNR?
You know, we're trying to, we don't think so. As of right now, they said they still have open dates to where we can just push it out.
Is there a timeline where we have to have this done by, or where?
Not with the DNR necessarily. We just got to have the stack testing done before we're allowed to operate off of our permit and move forward.
And then these issues that we're having, as far as things that need to be fixed and so forth, I'm assuming that that's their obligation to take care of those?
Yeah, they'll, like that, the fuel meter, they'll be responsible for replacing that and fixing that type of thing. So, yep. Yep,
Okay. Is that it?
that's enough.
Thank you.
Next month.
Yeah, next month we better be running.
Okay, next we'll hear water utility action items. Let's see, this is just a simple motion, authorization for Warren Water District to serve a customer within their territory upon proper notice to IMU, since the customer is within 2 miles of the IMU territory, located at 9335 110th Avenue. So, Justin, anything? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, simple motion to approve authorization for Warren Water District to serve a customer within their territory upon proper notice to IMU, since the customer is within 2 miles of the IMU territory, located at 12149 R63 Highway.
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then we need a first and second motion to approve resolution authorizing Southeast Streetscape Water Main Payment Application Number 2.
I do have something to offer before we
Oh.
proceed with this.
Okay.
There was a edit to this resolution for clerical errors on Friday afternoon. I want to make sure everyone caught that. It was just some clerical errors. I do have the copy. It was not updated. I was working from home on the Friday afternoon, and for some reason, the file that I edited didn't save to the packet. So I have the file that was in the packet here, if you'd like to view it. The updated resolution has been put in. It was missing 0 in a number, application number 3. So if you'd like to review the changes that I made, feel free, but this is the current, and it is correct
Okay.
for the actual sign.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
And does the line number 1, should that say MB Construction instead of Miller Electric?
Correct, yes, and that part changed, and I'm not sure why our other changes didn't. We did notice the payment number 3 this morning, and that the Miller Electric still wasn't updated. I'm not sure how I did it. Remote working is not my fave.
Okay. Roll call then.
Yes.
Please.
Going to go with White.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is water utility informational items. Justin?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot. Well 9 was pulled, new pump, new casing, and motor. Was put back into service on Thursday. We took our bacteria test Thursday and got the results back today. They all passed, so it's back in service. We're back to all 4 wells. The high service pump that was down should be replaced either the end of this week or the first of next. So we'll have all 3 high service pumps back. And then other than that, just working with the different construction projects going on with the high school, the city doing the West Culvert project. We had 2 water main relocations that the contractor took care of, but we had to shut down and isolate for them, and then just business as usual with locates, meter swaps, and other day work
Those
orders.
2 new developments, Justin, on the north side of town, are you involved with those, or those are private contractors?
They're private contractors, but for all the pressure testing, the bacteria testing, we're involved in all that, but it's all been taken care of, passed, so it's just waiting for the houses to get built.
Well, no, I was meaning the one that's like right on Kentucky in town, and the one that's over by the vet clinic.
Kentucky doesn't involve us. The vet clinic, or the one by the vet clinic, yes. Once they get started to run water main, we'll be involved with that.
The reason I asked is I saw private sewer companies coming in, and so I wasn't sure what we did.
Yep. Yeah. Again, we'll do all the pressure testing and bacteria stuff. So.
And I'm not sure but I, just driving out here again, I don't get to the square all that often, but on the west side of the west parking lot there, it looks like the concrete aspects of that are in. I'm assuming the parts that aren't paved, that's pervious.
That'd be bricks. And then once they get. Yeah, once they get the bricks put in there, they thought it'd take a couple weeks to get the bricks put in. And then we've got to go back in under the island, because then we'll have access to get to them, to be able to put our basement equipment or fiberglass that all our equipment sits on. And
So
then
we're not quite done.
We're not quite done in there. We just got to wait for our turn.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Next, communications utility action items. I need a first and second motion to approve the resolution to approve. The resolution to approve Newcom RS number 14 for engineering work on the NOFA 7 grant project.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Monica, roll call please.
Yes. Voight.
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Rosga.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next we need a first and second motion to approve resolution approving the purchase of the Gen 2 wall system for the IMU Network Operations Center.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Monica, roll call.
What is that? Yeah, this is,
Oh.
we have budgeted for this year to do the remodel phase on the engineering side. We did the tech side last year, moved the techs over to where the old break room used to be. This was going to be, we budgeted about $80,000 this year to do a build out over on the engineering side, to do individual offices, try to cut down on the noise a little bit. After looking at that, we ended up digging a little bit farther and found this modular system that is basically 80-inch walls with doors that we think will cut down the noise appropriately, but for $30,000. So saving about $40,000 off of this. So instead of doing a build out with 2x4s and drywall and moving electric and HVAC and all of that stuff. So these walls will be 80 inches tall with doors on them, and it just, the spacing will be different too. They'll be up out along the wall side instead of everybody clustered in the middle. So the hope is that cuts down the noise enough, and again, does it at a much more reasonable cost. So.
Okay, you want to go back to A? Should you have any information on that? You
No,
wanna tell us?
that one's the
Okay.
NOFA 7 engineering
Okay.
stuff that,
Okay.
yeah, we're just doing the last two phases. So, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So, that's good.
Okay, now we need a first and second motion to approve resolution approving the purchase.
Yeah, we'll have to vote for that
You're gonna
first.
vote on B.
Oh, I thought we did. Okay.
That's okay.
Sorry, roll call.
Voight,
Yes.
White,
Yes,
Smith,
Yes.
Rosca.
Yes.
Thank you.
okay. Now we move on to a first and second motion to approve resolution approving the purchase of a 2024 service truck for the telecommunications department.
So move. Second.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah.
Okay,
What's your recommendation, I guess?
Yeah, my recommendation, and I apologize, we were still getting information on Friday, so I kind of left this blank, just getting some more information in today. My recommendation is to go with the Dodge Ram from DeArmond for $45,184. The lowest bid is a truck that is on the lot available now, but it doesn't have the rear sensing feature on it, which I think is important nowadays. My guys are backing up a lot. Daycare groups walk by our building all the time, so the more safety features we get on there, the better. So that's why we threw out the $44,000 one. Stu Hansen actually comes in about $125 less than DeArmond, but DeArmond is a customer of ours, so since they are so close, I would recommend the DeArmond purchase. So, and there were a couple other oddball ones on there. One of the Chevy dealers did have a 1-ton on the lot that they quoted out to, just so we could see what was available now. But got 8 bids back, so it's nice to see that we're able to get those, where a few years ago it was tough to get bids in at all. So.
Or that they're available.
Yeah, and not horrible right now. And actually, DeArmond updated their delivery time today too. I was concerned about the 4 to 6 months, but they're now saying 12 to 14 weeks too. They've checked with the factory, and they're saying we should be able to have that by the end of November, which would be good because the truck we're replacing, the heater core is shot on it, so it has no heat. So.
The issue we had before getting trucks was that Ford.
Yeah, it was all, yeah. So. Everybody was very responsive this time, so I was very happy about that, especially after, the last couple of years.
So we had ordered 2 trucks,
They're electric.
and that,
Yep, we ordered a couple trucks, and then they sent us one, and then they canceled the other one.
they canceled it?
Yeah,
and that was who?
that was Dodge. Yep, Stu Hans. Well, it would be, Stu's.
Okay.
So are you going to get a different
No,
one?
that's been,
Or you just
that was
didn't
back
need it?
when we were in the COVID deal,
Oh,
where
okay.
nobody could get trucks. We weren't the only one that got canceled, if I remember right. The state of Iowa had like 150-some vehicles that got canceled as well with that same whole deal, and that all comes directly from Dodge, from the factory. Had nothing to do with the dealerships at that time.
Does me.
Okay, Monica, roll call, please.
Yes. White,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Rosca,
Yes.
Voights.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, communications utility informational items.
Yeah, I don't have a ton. We're kind of business as normal right now. Again, working on all these action items the last couple of weeks. But, yeah, we're just trying to get through the next couple of weeks. Going to be busy with Rag Bride and fair and everything else. But we'll still be doing installs and getting out there. So.
Okay.
So is everything set for the fairgrounds? I know that was one of the conversations Joe had mentioned, having discussions with you and others about the fiber and.
Yeah, we've got fiber service through the fairgrounds. I think they leave that running year-round now. They actually run out of that office, or at least a phone out of that office year-round. So, yeah, we were actually talking about that today. We haven't heard from them, so we're assuming everything's up and running just fine for them. So.
Okay, next is combined electric, water, and communications action items. We need a first and second motion to approve resolution authorizing a classification, compensation, and benefits study and analysis.
So moved.
Okay, any discussion?
Well, I am curious how some of these conversations have gone internally with the results coming back from the bids. What have been kind of your key things to make a decision or make a recommendation for this group, for the GovHR?
So I'll start off kind of, as we talked back and forth, we're not picking the low bid. There was a RKL that was at $19,000. As we look for them, I think they would do a good job. Their area of focus seems to be a little more East Coast. They're very big in Pennsylvania and Delaware, and that's where a lot of their examples and references came from, compared with the GovHR that is a little more regional, a lot of coverage in Iowa. I think the GovHR process was a little more cleaner. They did, we're going to wrap this up with presentations to the trustees instead of just a piece of paper saying here's a go. So there'll be an opportunity to discuss that. We thought that was an important component in all of that, as well as I think there was a couple of other. I think the one item, for combined positions, we do have, like Chris, that's combined HR and finance director positions, as well as, we talked about some overlapping jobs and being smaller staff. They spoke in pretty detail about working with smaller organizations where roles aren't clearly defined. And I think their ability to better accommodate those, or at least spoke better to those.
Is it really that they're clearly defined, but they have multiple characteristics to the role?
Yeah, rather than just be you're in charge of finance director, but a combined finance and HR. They spoke a lot of their work and reputation with the smaller organizations where that's a concern. So we are recommending the GovHR over the low bid for several of those reasons. Chris, do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Anybody else?
Do we feel that we're not competitive?
No, I think in general, this is an exercise that's valuable. It hasn't been done in quite a long time.
When was the last time we did it?
I don't know that we've ever
Done it?
done an RFP for a salary and compensation study. We've done some internal comparisons. And
We've gotten other
shared those
people's
with you.
studies results, but
Oh, we
we
did
did
it that right? Yes.
Yeah, I've been typically kind of using some of the other people's stuff. It's the first time to sit down. I think it will be valuable as we go into, we're coming up on a 5-year contract on union negotiations. I think this will give us some valuable information and a place to base, any of our union negotiation discussion. Some concrete feedback concrete feedback and analysis rather than, one side or the other's opinion on how things should go.
So did they make any comments about those rules that we share with the city, are those out of bounds with what we're doing? Where we pay allocations to, or do we receive allocations from?
Yeah, any of the shared services are out of the scope of this.
I do have one other thing to add. As far as the GovHR, the company that we're recommending, they have also said that they will offer like support for 1 year from the date of the contract for questions or anything like that. So that was not in the proposal.
I guess my only thought is, I don't hear that we're not properly compensating people. I think we have a good all-encompassing benefit package. And we sometimes say, well, gosh, we can save $1,000 here, we can save $5,000 there. And as a department says, this is 20 grand that we could be putting towards something.
I actually think it's a wise thing, since we haven't done it in a while. I think the city has done some things with their salaries that we feel like we need to keep up with. So I think it gives us a better basis to say, this is where we're grounding to. I don't know, I think it'd be curious to see. We feel we're not out of bounds, or we feel like we're not out of sync with some of where we should be, but it would be interesting to see where they fall. My opinion.
And that's worth 20 grand.
For some of the, what I continue to feel like we scurry every time, and this is only my 4th season, is we react to what the city does.
And we always will.
Maybe we wouldn't have to if we had some grounding to say these roles are being paid fairly. I don't know, I feel like we let, if we're gonna continue to do that, maybe you're right, Mike.
But I think our organizations work, you know, in conjunction with each other so closely and so forth. I guess I've always felt that from a compensation perspective, our employees and the city employees should be compensated extremely similar from that vantage point. And so if the city's doing X, and if we do Y, and we've done it before, but if we do Y too many times, we also get to a point where I think we got out of whack. So as a part of things, I think we're always going to be following whenever that happens. Or if we did something, my strong suspicion would be that they would probably follow us.
The only problem I have is like when you don't compare apples to apples as far as positions, and will that take care of that?
This is kind of a reset. It's a technical analysis. It's kind of a skill set analysis and the ranking and all of those. Kind of to go back to Lori's point on, you know, what it could mean, I guess not to minimize the $20,000, but if we happen to be looking for a 5-year contract last year or next year, if we save 1% over that 5 years, or if next year we need to drop a 1% because we've got some good data that would support our position where, you know, it's a difference between, is it 3 versus 4, and we've got concrete data that feels like 3 is appropriate. The $20,000 is approximately 1% at any one of those years, or all those years combined, to where concrete data, we won't be able to guess or give seat of the pants opinions on what is or isn't fair. So it saves us across any of those opportunities. You know, the 1%, it's paid for itself, and then some.
So we'll go off of what we get from this organization, and then if the city doesn't read it the same way that Gov has given to them, are we going to follow them still? Or do we go with the documentation that they give us?
I mean, I think one of the things that'll come out of there is going to be a utility industry-specific recommendation of what those next 5 years will be. I think we'll much more readily be able to make that decision, or make it with more confidence, rather than say, one way or another, it's good industry data, and it'll be utility specific, that may be similar to the city, or it could be tailored a little more to the specific concerns of the various utility departments.
The problem is going to be who and how they match us. And I don't know that there's another utility in the state of Iowa, or the Midwest for that matter, that has the same or similar demographics that we have as far as the different services we provide, the number of employees that we have, our population, our proximity to Des Moines. I just think it's a fruitless exercise. And I'll be quiet.
I'm pretty quiet with that.
I don't necessarily agree with that one. I think
And you don't, that's cool.
I understand your point, but I think there are actions that, no, they're not exactly like us, but there are a lot of municipal utilities that we can't compare to, that have some of
And closer population than sometimes that we see.
not necessarily reflecting.
Right. Yeah.
The cost of this survey, I think his point about comparison of how much this survey costs and the potential for how much it may save us in the long run, I think is a very valid point. I don't have a concern with the cost of this. I've seen the amount of this spent on a single individual survey. So to have this amount spent on a whole organization is to me is very reasonable.
No, I just thought he was information that would be good for us as a big thing.
Very curious to see how we utilize it. Yeah, we utilize it.
But yeah, I think it's up to us. I think the questions you're asking are good.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
We do have
Yeah.
motions.
Yeah. Roll call.
Thank you. Rosga,
No.
Voights,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we need a first and second motion to approve resolution approving liability, auto, property, workers' compensation, and machinery and equipment replacement insurance for fiscal year 24-25.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Anything you want to present?
I'll probably turn it over to Chris, and preface by saying it is quite an increase. In some cases, I think those increases were in the property were 32%. We did budget 40%. They warned us it would be a pretty significant year. So all these amounts are kind of what they are. We really don't have a whole lot of feedback to give to them, and to other than to say we budgeted for this and it is coming in under budget is maybe helpful. Doesn't solve 32% increase concern, but we at least knew it was going to be bad, and it came in with those expectations, or a whole lot with those expectations. Chris, do you have anything else?
Yeah, just to reiterate that, I think early, maybe February, January, when we were doing budget, it was told to us that the percentage of increase would be around 40%. So that's what we did include in our budget. The only breakout that I have at this time is the work comp premium. The IMU premium came in about 49% under what we budgeted, because we budgeted a 20% increase for work comp, not knowing how that was going to play out. So we budgeted for an increase, and then it actually came in, you can see in Courtney's memo, you do the mod factor, came in less than it had previously. So there's a savings there. Of that total premium of $205,399 for the work comp renewal, IMU's was just over $19,000.
So Chris, on that In that section, it has city premium, 411 premium, and IMU premium. What's the 411?
That's fire. Yeah. Yep. So like Chris said, the property, the liability, and the auto, that all came in about what they had predicted. So until I get the breakdown, I can't tell you exactly how that compares to our budget, but we did budget a 40% increase, and I feel like it won't be quite that, but I can certainly bring, when I get the breakout from Courtney, I can bring that.
Why do we not have the breakout yet?
Part of it is because we got the proposal, the renewal back so late from ICAP. It was after July 1 before we got that. And then Courtney was out on vacation last week, so she hadn't had a chance to.
So you're
we'll
expecting
numbers.
that pretty quickly? then?
Will we have that the next meeting? I can ask.
I mean, when the gentleman was here, I forget what his name was, he told us
Brad.
that. Who knows? So,
So from a budget perspective, I think we budgeted appropriately. It's just not good news that it didn't
So
go that much.
it sounds like it could be in our favor that it won't be over 40. It could be at 40 or just under.
Right.
When Brad was here, we talked about the cyber insurance,
Mm-hmm.
and if I recall, we talked about the limit on cyber only being $1 million, and I believe we expressed concerns about that.
Yes.
Was there further discussion about that?
I don't know. I think Courtney did raise that concern because she had asked, I think the day after our meeting, about that discussion. And Brad had said that we had similar discussion here that the city had and similar concern here. I would need to look back and see how that was followed up on. So I can certainly do that as well.
I guess I'm concerned about that.
Yeah. I think it was taken into consideration. Yeah. Okay, I'll follow up on that.
well, there's a part of this is because of our fiber
No.
side of things, does that put us at an increased risk over other entities? I'm thinking,
Put my finger on that, otherwise I can certainly get
It's
back
in the
to you.
memorandum. It's got the cowbell cyber coverage from Courtney from the, I think I used risk memo.
Aggregate limit of $1 million is decreasing. Okay, I'll follow up with her on that. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? We approve it.
I agree with you on that one.
For that reason.
Would it be
I
better
would-
to table it, or would it
I think
be
we should,
to
because
approve?
why are we not getting,
I don't disagree, but does it hurt us other deadlines that we're bumping up against? Because my understanding is we're not meeting here in August, it will be end of August when we get together.
Well, and we already are I understand your concern, and maybe rather than vote no on the whole, that you would maybe propose that you're affirming all the rest of them with the exception of the cowbell. That'll continue our property coverage. I don't want to put any of the property liability at risk, and then we'll bring that final question to call at our next meeting.
To Mike's point, then, are we at risk on the cyber if we don't do something now? I mean, I agree we need to increase it, but do we need to at least keep it status quo as we look to increase it?
I mean, there is some liability exposure there. And I think in the interim, I don't know how long it will take to get any answers.
so we're voting blindly?
I'm not concerned because it actually falls under it's the city's coverage, isn't it?
Yes.
So the vote that we take, I don't think has a significant amount of bearing. It's got some message. But I'm fine taking the action of this.
Okay. I would support that.
Okay, so what are we doing now, then? Do we just do the roll call, or are we changing anything then?
Somebody would be motioning approving everything with the exception of the cowbell coverage, and you vote on it as such.
So in the memo, it'd be everything but that.
Okay, so we're going to have the resolution for approving liability, auto, property, workers' comp, and machinery and equipment replacement, but we will hold until the next meeting to approve the cowbell portion. Is that right?
For cyber.
I think it would just
For
apply
cyber.
cybersecurity rather than.
Okay,
Problems with the company.
okay. So I need a first and second motion. We already did that.
Oh, we amended it.
Oh,
I would make that amendment.
okay,
I second the amendment
okay,
motion. Amended motion. Now we vote.
okay. Roll call, Monica. When you're ready.
Is that clear as mud, Monica?
Yes. It's going to be great. White,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And combined electric, water, and communications informational items.
All right, just for information for those that might be listening, we did have our strategic planning update, and I think the department heads will meet tomorrow, but we've discussed a lot of the items and feedback that came out of that. So that's been the bulk of our week. Rec Bright's coming to town, so on Wednesday, the exciting part of that, Mike touched on earlier, we'll have all the fresh poured cement, so there shouldn't be any barricades or any items. We did what we could to get everything cleaned up, and fingers crossed that all goes well. And
So
we'll,
what is the route they're bringing in? They're coming in on 92, but where are they cutting into?
they're going north on Kenwood, and then right on Clinton, and then sorry, Euclid. Right on Euclid, and then coming down. Yeah,
I believe so.
yeah, Buxton. Yeah, Buxton, crossing 92 across Buxton, and then they'll kind of head to the highway just south of the Casey's on Highway 9, or Highway 65 and 69.
Clinton's got that culvert project going right now, so it's closed, so they had to take them to Euclid and route them on that way, so.
Right, I just didn't know how they were getting to the square. I tried to pull the map up a few times, and I just,
The long way.
Okay. Well, since the mayor has not arrived. Oh, did you have more, Chris?
No.
Oh, okay. Can we table
Yes.
Adam's updated?
welcome back anyway.
Yes, we're glad to have you. Okay, any other business then? Anybody? Nope. First and second motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.